a 2-liter diesel front-wheel drive.
My grandparents on my dad's side would probably be the ones that really got me into cars, because my parents, when I was little, was poor. I mean, we were, and most of their cars were junk. I mean, Dad would buy them for a couple $100 and run them till literally scrapyards didn't want them. And that's how we did. You know, Dad didn't buy his. I was trying to think of a cool car my dad ever actually had. My dad was very practical. He'd buy work cars because that's what he used them as, was work cars. So he would always buy stuff, but I remember he bought an old Dodge truck that had an old Slant 6 in it.
Oh.
The Slant 6 is a bulletproof motor. There's like one belt, and that's it. Everything can go wrong with it.
There's nothing to break.
And, you know, it was like a bronze brown. It was horrible. So the cars weren't really all that, but my grandpa loved. Oh no, I take that back. A car my dad bought was a Buick Electra with a 400 small block in it. That was a 80 model, 80s. God, I'd have to go back and look. That was a great car. I loved that car because that was the fastest car my parents ever owned at that time, and it was great. But my grandparents on my dad's side, my grandpa loved old Lincolns, and he would buy a new Lincoln all the time. And when he bought a powder blue Mark 7 Lincoln, I fell in love with that car. It was absolutely beautiful. And he always had super nice cars, and I loved them. And there was other parts of my family who got it, but as far as my dad, my mom always had nice cars. He'd buy my mom whatever car she wanted. Beautiful, nice cars. Then my dad'd be roaming around in a piece of junk. Just the way it was.
Not necessarily, but yeah, I like the idea of cheap runabouts.
Yeah.
I'm one of those where I would rather daily drive a crap box and have a nice car on the weekends than have a reasonably good car for both.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that because, quite honestly, it's entertaining. Seeing a car that shouldn't work is brilliant.
Well, there is something about them. I mean, me and my wife, you know, we've bounced back and forth between some, you know, really cheap beat up cars and some really nice cars. We've been fortunate enough to kind of go both ways, and you know, fortunate, unfortunate, I guess. It depends on how you want to say it, but you know, I think there is something very humbling.
Did anyone have any cool cars when I was very little? Because nothing that I can think of. My uncle had an 118i M Sport, which when you're 7, you think is an M car, but that was probably the most interesting. No, because my uncle used to have. I have an uncle now has an Audi Q7. I think I've talked about it before, with 400 foot-pounds of torque. But he had a Golf back then, so yeah. Okay. I think I just started liking cars because of Top Gear and video games, really. So.
On a similar note, did anybody ever have a car that was embarrassing? Just absolutely hide into floorboard?
No, because
yes.
Because I loved because I loved car. I loved any car. Like I still find appreciation in shit. Like Prius is 100% the example of that at the moment. But I love any car. But looking back, my granddad's Vanio is probably still the most embarrassing when I was little, because that's been in the family. The story with it was he bought it for my grandma. My grandma passed away, and then he sold it, and then he managed to find the exact car and buy it back, and now we still have it. So yeah, so it's terrible, but it's staying for as long as it lives.
The most embarrassing car that anyone in my dad has ever owned. I'd have to think about my full.
Oh yeah, of course, the Prius. I completely forgot we had that for a second. I had a moment of bliss where I was living in a dream world where I had an ST220, and then suddenly it collapsed.
But I think most embarrassing is my mom but before she bought her Audi, she had a 2009 VW Jetta wagon, which doesn't sound too bad, except for the fact that the AC was always broken, the glove box would never fully shut, we always had hubcaps falling off, the tires would always go flat, and the radio stations would never pick up the signal.
Oh, wow, right?
What year was this?
2009.
How do you get... I'm sorry, we paid £500 for a 2006 Astra, and even that would pick up radio stations.
We paid 10 grand for it and sold it for, I don't know, probably less. Much less.
How do you pay 10 grand for a car that broke?
And it was, well, you know, it was the definition of a shitbox.
I think that's what I love about UK used cars. You don't get that. Because of how expensive everything else is, you can get good cars for nothing.
Yeah, I envy that big time.
See, mine wasn't actually anything. Well, my parents, that Renault they had, that was terrible. That was embarrassing because it couldn't even get up the hill we lived on. Anyway, the epitome of embarrassing was my poor grandma. My grandma was poor. She was. And there again, she didn't care about cars. If it started and got her going, that's all she cared about. But when I was a kid, okay, she had a sun-faded mustard yellow Ford Fairmont, okay? Just the epitome of bad car. And
that's
so,
like
of course, he was the one who would take me to school in the morning. And of course, let's go get the car. And, you know, it's a Ford Fairmont. And my grandma, God bless her, she... Not only did I have the embarrassment of rolling in this sun-faded mustard yellow Ford Fairmont, but she would also take you to school in her house coat and hair curlers, okay? So then she'd go, hey, baby, you want me to pull up out front? No, please. Drop me off at the YMCA next door, and I'll walk the rest of the way. She was so, she couldn't understand. She goes, no, why? I'll pull up. You don't have to walk. It's raining. No, I'll deal with the rain. It's better. It's
better.
I can't be seen in the car.
Especially, I would just walk all the way to school.
Oh, school trip. Going to school and back in the car, which is that's the only place I actually have stories. The most memorable one was, it was pissing it down, and this was a few months after the Xanthi had broken and started sitting in our driveway permanently, which would stay until it got scrapped. And I was like, I don't want to walk home in this rain. And my dad just pulls out these BMW keys because my dad's friend has a BMW E30, had a E36 at the time. And that's one of the hardening memories of where I started loving cars. Because you didn't have to go in the rain for that kind of stuff. There's an E36, which I didn't know it was called an E36. It was just the BMW. But, yeah.
It tells you how bad it was, because when she had the Fairmont, she also got, and to me it was an upgrade. It wasn't half as embarrassing, but she had a faded blue Malibu wagon. The old Malibu wagon. Okay, how bad is that? And that was an upgrade. It's like, yeah, you can take me to school in that. That ain't as bad.
Yeah.
Lesser of two evils.
Yeah. But that Fairmont, those were horrible cars. Just horrible cars.
I don't really have a story like that, mostly because my mom and my dad both kept both of their cars for about over 10 years. The Durango, he got 2003 or 2004. He only got rid of it in like 2017. The Vitara, mom had a similar time before the Durango. Got rid of it 2016. So yeah, Dad's had a lot of cars. Mom's had 3.
The odd thing is, I still find the Xantia cool.
Yeah. She had some Nissan pickup truck. I don't remember. Then she had the little Nissan Coupe. And then she got the Suzuki Vitara afterwards. So, and now we have to take one. So now she's had 4 cars. But yeah. Now, to be fair, though, the most embarrassing thing about the Vitara was that one time. So there's a
safety rating.
That was definitely embarrassing. Mostly terrifying, I have to say. As someone who had to sit in that very frequently. But there's a courthouse all the way up in Boulder. And so you take a highway, you go down. Well, to get back out, the highway goes up a hill. Similar to your Jetta not having any AC, Mom's Vitara did not have much AC either. It had heat, it just didn't have any cooling. Well, also because it was woefully underpowered, and because we live at a mile high above sea level, we had to turn the aircon off just to make it up the hill without just slowing down all the way up the hill.
Oh, this didn't go.
That was poor. It was funny, but well, it's funny now. But yeah, and it had the worst part. It had gray cloth seats, and you'd think that wouldn't be so bad. But when the car is mostly glass and you have no AC, the cloth gets just as hot as leather. Just not as it's not as scathing, but it's just as unpleasant. That was that was embarrassing.
I'm lucky I don't have any money right now because I would have just bought an Exantia right now. Just been looking on Facebook, they're 750, 800 quid.
See, my aunt had a mustard yellow,
driving license,
like flat Pinto wagon. Wagon. Okay, you can't get much worse than this. And then a couple of the hood and one fender was brown. So it was.
I just saw a Peugeot 206 like that on Facebook.
And you got to remember, back in the 70s, cars didn't have window tint. It was just plain glass.
Yeah.
And I remember, because back then you could leave your kids in the car because it was better than going in the store. So we just sit in the back of the wagon and play, just play, She'd lock the doors, leave us in the car. She'd go into like Kmart or something and go shopping for like a day and a half and then come back and us kids. And those cars would get so hot. You'd be sitting back here by the window and you'd just be cooking. And you get a suntan sitting in the car, just absolutely baking.
Okay. See, and only now do we have don't leave your kids in the back of the car and all that stuff that happened in the last at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, back in my day, Mom would go shopping. I'd stay in the car. And, I was a little kid. I'm not talking teen. I was like single digits kid. And you lock the car doors and, don't open your car door to anybody. And I'd literally crawl up in the back window and take a nap. And, you'd wake up just and in fact, my toy gun melted in the back window of the car because I still have it. My old toy pop gun. My first toy gun I ever had in my life. Yeah. And we left it in the back window of the car and the plastic stock melted. So it's all warped.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because cars back didn't have window tinting. It was hot in them, boy. It was miserable back in the day.
I don't have a car story like that, but I do have a story of me not melting, but ruining something. A while ago, we got electric blankets that we could put on the bed.
Right.
And when it got cold, I had a tendency to jack the temperature all the way up to 10 because it took forever for the electric blanket to get hot. I saw you almost spit out your coffee. And so one night I did that, and I had a remote for the TV near me. Well, somehow it got under the covers, and by the time I woke up with the electric blanket on 10 at full blast, the remote for the TV the plastic had bent. Like it bent and it cracked, and I broke the remote through sheer heat.
Wow.
But just having it on 10 the entire night, which is stupid because you already get hot when you're sleeping, and then you have the electric blanket on full blast. It's a miracle I didn't get a heat stroke.
I was going to say, how was you sleeping?
Yeah.
I don't, and the fact of the matter is, I hate being hot sleeping as well.
Yeah.
So.
I'm shocked you didn't short it out from sweating too bad.
Yeah. How I'm still here, I have no idea.
That's horrible.
It was bad.
No way.
Yeah, and now I sleep with that fan on every night, so.
Yeah.
Went from one extreme to the other.
Cold to sleep.
You what?
I got to be cold to sleep. I can't be warm at all. If I am, I don't sleep. I often crack the bedroom window when it's 0 outside just because I love that cool breeze when I'm sleeping. It's bad.
I have my window open when I'm sleeping frequently as well, but the sucky part is that due to where my house faces, which is south, the wind does not blow through the goddamn window! So I can have it open all day, which I've done many a day, and nothing. It doesn't get colder in here, ever.
Wow.
Sucks.
That's bad.
Damon, is that a 2CV?
Van, it's a 2CV van.
2CV van, oh god.
Love to see it.
For $5,500, I think.
Oh.
5 or 6 grand.
Oh
The
god.
2CV, same with Renault 4 and 5s, they were worthless until 10 years ago. And then suddenly, they're collectible. From
That
what
DK
I was
What
too
happened?
young. I was too young to be searching Auto Trader, so I don't remember this personally. But from what I hear, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that
I,
sucks.
I do remember the 944s because I used to beg my dad to get them when they were 1,500 quid, and now they're £5 for a good one. So
Big sad. What the values that are supposedly are getting high that I'm sad about are the Sunbeam Tigers. They're like 30, 40 grand. I'm gonna have to get an Alpine and then do a V8 swap and get that to work.
yeah.
But I suppose that's better than getting an original Tiger because
Even the MX5s now, they used to be 500. They were 500-600 quid for an NB. Hell, an NA was £500 a little while earlier. I can't find any for under £1,800.
yeah.
They're all either owned by people who are never ever going to sell them, or they're in scrapyards, all the cheap ones.
Yeah, or they've been modified to hell and are broken, like a lot of tuner cars.
Yeah. Those MX-5 engines seem to respond well to a turbo. They don't seem to do too. They don't not very reliable with a turbo, but they take power. They do take quite a bit of power. Fed 300 horsepower on those.
Woo!
That's a lot.
Definitely gonna explode, but that's nice. Guys, have you seen? Okay. First Viper Talk of the podcast, the only Viper Talk of the podcast. Have you seen? There is in fact, in my state, there is a black Gen 5 Viper ACR that has 2,700 horsepower right now. It's a Calvo Viper. It is street legal. It has a sequential in it. They modified it to have a sequential. 2,700 horsepower.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
That is.
Until about 10 years ago, the fastest street legal car on the quarter mile was a Vauxhall that had been done up in the UK. And then I think 10 years ago, some American car builder, I think he's written an article.
Well, I just seen it. Oh. Sounds going weird. The one I got excited about is I just seen it. Hennessy got a hold of a Demon engine, and they decided to stuff this 1,000 horsepower Demon engine into a Jeep Renegade, or not a Renegade, the Wrangler. And it's like, power Wrangler. Yes, please.
This is gonna pull a wheelie on power. Love it.
And they put a lift kit on it, the whole bit. It's the 4-door Wrangler. And 1,000 horsepower Demon engine. There is something about a Wrangler flying down the road with that growl and that banshee wail at the same time that just excites me.
Yeah. It's like a terrified ghost, just wailing down the road.
Same time. It's a beautiful thing. It is. It's, yeah.
You know what I've always loved though is those Jeep Grand Cherokees, the Hellcat Grand Cherokees that have 707 horsepower, and it's amazing because it's an SUV, but it can go like hell.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Hellcat going down the road. You got the supercharger wide. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're a 400-pound car going down the road.
Yeah.
Which actually ain't a whole lot heavier than a Challenger. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Hellcats are rowdy though. I got a ride in one a while ago. It was a Turo rental. Oh my god! I don't care how heavy the car is. There's no getting around 707 horsepower, sub 10,000 pounds. It was a riot.
That is funny.
Holy crap.
I am dying to ride one. I really am. I've heard them. I've got to hear them go by and stuff. And there is something intoxicating about that sound. It really is. Honestly, my newest love right now I have is the Dodge. Well, I shouldn't say Dodge. It's not anymore. The Ram was it TRX?
Yeah.
With the Demon engine or the Hellcat engine in it.
Yeah.
There's something about that there again excites me. It just.
Yep. I'm waiting for that red eye. Waiting for that red eye model.
Yes. Oh yes.
So epic.
Yes.
TRX is a mythical, brilliant beast.
It is, and you know, it's out. They couldn't even make it 2-wheel drive capable. It's only 4-wheel drive all the time.
Yep.
And it's like there's something about being in a truck. And if you've ever seen one, they're a big truck. That ain't no joke. I mean, they're a big truck. To light up all 4 tires at once. Just light them up. Just no problem. Just yeah.
That's a fun time. Mecum Auctions, apparently, they're doing thrill rides with the TRX now, alongside the Dodge ones.
Nice.
Yeah, I just saw that recently. It makes me so mad that I never got to do one of those Dodge thrill rides because they look. I mean, I'd be so sick, but it looked like so much fun.
Right.
I got to do at my local auto show back in, I guess, 2020 before the whole COVID thing. I did a few times, but they had
Granada, 1,600 quid.
like Fiat, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram kind of
Yeah.
They set up this mock off-roading.
Oh yeah, the Jeep courses. Yeah.
Yes, and I got to go in a Jeep Wrangler. It was a 2019-2020 model,
Right.
and we were going over these fake boulders, and we were going 45-degree angles on these slopes. So you just drive like that, and they take them at like 30 miles, 20-30 miles an hour inside.
Yep.
On like fake boulders. It's awesome on these fake boulders and
Sounds
these fake rocks.
mental.
I've done that twice.
I do it
That was
over and over and over and over again.
Going back to my spectrum of cars, there was a Sierra RS Cosworth rally car for $8,000 that had been it was ruined, but they were hoping to find someone to restore it, and I've just found it on Facebook, and it's just been parted out, and the engine itself is $5,500.
Just the engine?
Yeah, the Cosworth blocks are worth a lot at the moment. The Cosworth blocks are worth a lot at the moment.
Oh well, that makes sense. But,
So, because they're running out of them, because they only made 15,000 of them, and they made 15,000 cars. So,
and some have been wrecked.
yeah, a lot.
I've done that Jeep thing. I think twice that I can remember. The scariest part is going up the massive ramp where it's like not near vertical, but it's very steep.
Oh yes.
You get up top, and then you go down, and you're like, please don't flip forward. Please don't flip forward. You sit in your seat like this.
And also going at the 45-degree angle, you're like, please.
That's also terrifying.
Please do not stop onto the roof. Yeah.
I've had the test drivers. They'll say, hey, go side to side. Try and make it fall over. It won't. I've done that. It's terrifaying.
I'm shitting my pants.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes.
Flip.
Like, please don't fall over.
Why am I trying to make it fall over?
I haven't never been off-roading.
See, the funny part with that is you guys done it in a very controlled environment with the people who built the car going, go ahead, it won't do it. I was out in the wild going, oh God, let's hope it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like me and Dad or me and my cousin or me and my friends, out doing it. And yeah, trust me, it's even more terrifying when you're doing it and you don't have the person who designed it going, no, I designed it to do this. You're just like, what? Well, in America, we have it as we call it, hey, hold my beer kind of thing, or watch this, and it is terrifying, but that's what makes it fun.
I found a Ford Galaxy, not the MPV thing, in 1959 Ford Galaxy for £17,000.
Wow.
That's impressively cheap, though.
Yeah, it's yellow, 60,000 miles, California car.
Of course, it's a California.
Of course.
There can't be much more terrifying than going out with a modified Samurai. Be like, this is fine. We're good. Yeah. We start slightly coming up. No, don't you dare do that.
It's like Hammond. It's like Hammond when he's like, I'm not scared. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there have been many times we've used their terms of much poo has happened, or there's been a bit of a wee happened.
A lot of excrement just shot out of my anus, though. That's when we used to go off-road with my cousin all the time. In the Toyota pickup I was telling you about. He loved to see what that thing would do. And it was like, dude, you're going to kill us one of these days.
And he got this. He rented this little house in town, and there was nowhere to park safely. So he would park in the alley, but he couldn't block the alley, so he couldn't just park in the alley.
Yeah.
And there was like a what we call a knee wall, about a 4 foot, not quite, maybe 3.5 foot concrete wall of the alley. And in order for him to park here, he thought because he would run
Right, I need to get off
the
Facebook.
driver's side of the truck up onto that wall, and the truck would be sitting like this in the alley because the driver's side was on the concrete wall, and then the other part was in the alley. And he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "It does great here." Well, it's funny because he couldn't hardly open his door to get out of his truck because the truck's sitting like this. But if you're on the passenger side, you literally fell out the truck. It just, and I was like, what's going to happen is one of these days you're going to go get out of the truck and it's just going to fall over on you.
Yeah.
It's just going to fall over on you. But it never done it. And another thing is those trucks were amazing at steep angles because they never cut out. Fuel pumped to them all the time. And a lot of things, when you get into them really steep angles, the fuel supply will cut out because it can't pump it uphill like that so hard.
Yeah.
But if Toyota will do it, they'll do it. And it's scary stuff because he wanted to see, what he could do in that truck, and it was horrifying. So,
There's a Lotus 7 kit car without an engine for £900.
That's a bit much for
Yeah.
no engine.
Not an
Nice.
engine.
No, but it's a Caterham-ish kind of thing without
Yeah.
rust on it. 900.
Yeah.
The Caterhams cost £16,000 new without an engine.
Ah! No.
yeah, right.
I don't think no. Do the Caterhams come with it? I think the Caterhams might supply an engine. I need to check on the website if they supply an engine or not.
I always wondered why the Lotus 7 started as a Lotus 7 and then Caterham were like, yeah, we're going to be our own thing now. I kind of wonder how that happened.
I think Colin Chapman, he was successful, but he didn't want to be known as own. So he sold the plans and stuff to Caterham. Who then started
Oh!
It was originally a Lotus, and then they sold the plans over to Caterham, and then Caterham started building them, and they still build them.
I see. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So, like, well, you have the Elise, and the Lotus 7 would kind of step on its toes, so what's the story
No,
there?
that was back in the 60s when...
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So the Elise was not... There was an Elan.
That's true, they did have the Elan, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, Lotus kind of they're in the same problem they were earlier, but they wouldn't have been if they had built on the Elise. Like if they made a whole range of cars that wasn't just Elise modified, then they would probably be in a very good financial position, and they wouldn't have had to be sold to Proton, who are now sold to Geely, and they wouldn't have to reinvent themselves as an electric car company now.
Yep.
Yeah, but they did it because they never followed through. Same with the Esprit. The Esprit was brilliant, but they never built anything other than Esprits, and they kept building them forever. In fact, the Esprit, I think, was one of the last cars with pop-up headlights. The last Esprits, because they built them until 2003.
Dang!
Yeah, car from 78 to 2003.
And people complain about the Challenger being old. Good God!
And they never built a mini Esprit or big Esprit. And they're doing it again with their last petrol car. It's one platform, and they're just going to try and stretch it into a big car and a small car. They're going to fail again. This is what happened with the Evora. It's a stretched Elise. If the Evora was built on even a separate enough platform where you had a bit more space, it would have definitely done well. Because that Camry V6, even though it's out of a Camry, it develops enough power to make the Elise do things which a Camry powered car really shouldn't.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of really powerful V6s though, I'm sure most of us would laugh at the Camry V6 in a Camry, but I mean
in the Elise, it does its job.
Oh yeah.
With a supercharger on it.
In the Exige,
In the Exige, it's mental.
That thing's brilliant.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and it's surprising to me how many normal people who just bought the top range Camry did not understand that their engine can, in the right chassis, outrun a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Well, technically, you can still buy a Camry that can outrun a Ferrari. I mean, think about it. You can pull up in your normal Camry from right now, and if you pulled up against, say, a Ferrari 308, you probably have a good chance of smoking it.
That's
a modern Ferrari. yeah.
Well, we didn't specify for which Ferrari. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
a lot of things would be an old enough Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's what bugs me though about like the Pentastar V6 that's in your Challengers, your Chrysler 200s and whatnot. Is it's a fairly powerful, like it's WRX/WRX-STI powerful, but
It's
no one really looks at
overshadowed by
it as
the
a
V8.
performance engine.
Yeah.
It's overshadowed by the V8.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem.
Mhm.
Like the C43 is probably a very capable car, but then you have the C63, which is a V8 in it. Until now.
C63S.
Yeah, and until now, when now everything's a four banger with a hybrid attached on the new Mercs.
Lame.
Yep.
I like this.
Yeah, and it's out of the A45, so they're taking an engine out of their base model car, saying let's strap an RC motor to it, and then putting it in the car that's supposed to sit above it, and they're using the same engine for the 43 and the 63. Why don't you just turn the dial up on the 43 a bit, rather than going out and spending more money on a C63?
Yeah. Yeah.
Different body style, I guess. But,
Yeah.
Well,
I heard that news recently, and I'm like, I'm not a fan. AMG, what are you doing? You have lost it.
Honestly, the M3 is looking like a better proposition with its full fat straight six and a manual gearbox.
But
Like,
that grill,
if you-
I cannot get past that grill.
I've looked at that grill for ages, and the grill isn't the worst. The rest of the car is overstyled. Like, the grill is the most obvious bit, but if you spend enough time looking at that car, the grill becomes a little bit easier, and the rest of the cars, like the wing mirrors, and it's an overstyle. It's like, take the Civic, but instead of trying to be overstyled, it tried to be subtle, but managed to be overstyled.
Look, you can't say nothing about the BMW grill. Have you seen the new Escalade? Oh my!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't
That
even
thing is a big gaping hole. It's
on the front.
What this is?
It's like they didn't even bother putting the front end. They just put a screen door and said that's the front end. It's horrible.
It's a Nissan Cube with a Rolls-Royce radiator grille glued on the front.
Exactly. Yep.
I think you're being nice because the Rolls-Royce grill at least had some style to it.
Oh
Okay?
yeah, I saw. I went to a salvage yard once, and I saw a smart car with a Rolls-Royce grill on it.
Why?
I don't know.
The grill costs more than the smart car.
I don't know.
First of all, look, the Rolls-Royce grill, I don't care what generation you pick one, I don't care. It still looks small compared to the Escalade grill.
Yeah, it does.
You can put two Rolls-Royce grills in there and still have room around them. It's horrible.
They might as well just nick the hatchback off a Focus and glue that on the front, and it still wouldn't cover it.
Yeah, and let's face it, that thing is hideous looking. Whoever designed it used the carpenter square and a ruler. That's it.
It was the Tesla.
Look at that thing. Look at that.
It was the Tesla Cybertruck design team was the top.
It's so bad.
I mean, Lexus has come out with some hideous grills, but that's stupid. That is.
I honestly think Lexus has been the best that pulled off the big grills the best. Not they're not brilliant, but I still think that some of them are alright.
Audi has
Audi. Oh
had
yeah.
good
Audi
stylish,
have some good ones.
elegant big grills.
Yeah.
Audi.
I kind of agree with Lexus, but I really like the LC 500. For that little tube, I think that big grill, I think that works.
The new
The
Lexus LS. Oh my god.
Lexus, Toyota/Lexus are killing it in the sport. You got the Supra, which is controversial, but won't talk about that. And then you got the GR Yaris for the everywhere that isn't America, and then for America you've got the IS 500, which is
the IS 500 F thing that's not enough.
Yeah, which is insane. And then for the entire world, you get a naturally aspirated V8 coupe for less than £100,000.
Yeah.
Could Toyota actually have the plot? What? No way.
I think Audi has pulled off the big grills the best. Lexus would be a close run to them though.
Yeah.
And it's very limited. I don't like the Lexus SUVs though.
Yeah, the Lexus SUV isn't.
That's a bit like the Cadillac. It's just
Yeah. But the Lexus cars cars are alright.
Yeah. It looks like the big whales that float around with their mouth open and
Yeah.
sucking in planes.
Yeah.
That shit looks
Yeah.
horrible looking. So, although I will say, I was looking on the Bring a Trailer website, and I found, what was it, one of the new Astons. And I love Aston Martin. Okay, I do. They're beautiful cars. But they took a front-on straight picture of it. And I'm sorry.
It looks like a catfish.
All I could see, it was a catfish. And all I kept thinking was, no.
It looks like
those Dyson vacuum cleaners that
It looks
have
like the Vantage.
that,
The Vantage looks less of an evolution of the new Vantage and more of an evolution of the 4th-gen catfish Camaro.
I was just about to say that. It's like it's the reincarnation of the catfish Camaro. Yeah.
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 The old. Cause no, they're not bad-looking cars. But if you remember, if you go back and watch Top Gear when the new Vantage and new DB9 released, and those types of the styling change from that to the new one, like the gap between new cars is a new car, but those cars were 5 years ahead of their time design-wise.
Yeah.
And you can tell because they kept building them till 2013 and 2016, respectively. They were ahead of their time. Like I still watch 2003 Top Gear occasionally, and they look like nothing else anywhere near the road. Even the SLR McLaren of the time looks slightly dated compared to them, and that's a massive. And they're now 30 grand, which is insane.
Yeah.
Man, this podcast has been going on for a long time now.
Yeah.
I just looked up at the thing. We've been filming for almost 3 hours.
Well, me too. Well, I've been here.
We got a lot of content now.
I was gonna say, here comes a couple more weeks worth of content, huh?
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
No, a couple months worth of
Yeah,
content.
we've got enough backlog. Like if for some reason we couldn't record these for 3 months, I think we've got enough backlog to cover that nearly.
Oh, totally. I have still several episodes I can make out of the other 2 we did.
Yeah.
And then I have like 5 or 6 episodes I can make out of this. Definitely, yeah.
Well, if you want to cut it here, do the outro. We'll cut
You know what? Let's get going on that outro. Typical outro. Thank you so much for watching. Always a pleasure to just chat and talk about stuff and make this podcast for you guys. And see you at some point. We don't know when we're filming next because we got so much content.
Yeah.
We're honestly not filmed for like 3 months.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.
Because I enjoy talking to you guys.
You will see us next week, but we won't be seeing each other for a few weeks.
You will see us on YouTube next week, but we will take a few weeks break.
Not because we don't enjoy doing this. It's so Layla for the next batch to record.
Yeah.
At the rate we're going.
Right.
And with that, it's time to end. Definitely just ripped off Top Gear, but yeah. Thank you. Good night. Good afternoon. Why am I saying good night?
On that bombshell, it's time to end.
Completely
Merry Hanukkah, everyone.
Okay.
The longest goodbye in YouTube history.
Okay. Actually, thank you for watching. See you at some point.